Today I'm very honored to have Mike Wiles as my guest. Mike is an ag businessman, a teacher, the founder of the YouTube channel AskTractorMike.com, and an author.
Hey, thanks, Paul. Appreciate you letting me be on your channel today.
Now, before we get too far into this whole thing, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background and how you came to this spot in your life?
Well, I grew up on a small farm in Missouri, and we were an orchard operation. And I spent a good part of my career after leaving the farm in the equipment business, both as a factory rep and then later managing a dealership. And we had a lot of folks that were coming in buying small tractors today, kind of like what you're going to be doing, who didn't grow up on a farm or were very far removed from a farm. And so I started the channel to kind of help them get good unbiased information about shopping for tractors and especially safety and maintenance and things like that. Things my dad taught me growing up on a farm that if you didn't grow up on a farm, you don't know. So I'm kind of your daddy, teaching you about tractors when you're getting ready to buy one.
All right, well, here's my tractor background. I haven't driven a tractor in over 50 years. I would imagine in 50 years, tractors have changed a little bit. What are some of those changes?
Well, tractors have gotten a whole lot easier to use. The first tractor I ever drove was a tricycle front, narrow front Oliver tractor, and it was hard to steer, it was hard to start. There wasn't anything easy about that Oliver tractor, but it was better than a horse. And that was, my dad farmed with horses before he got the tractor, and the day they got the tractor, the horses went to town, and that was a joyous day. So that was a tremendous improvement from what went before it. But today's tractors have power steering. They're a lot more stable. They have front wheel assist or four-wheel drive. They're a lot safer. They've got roll bars. So there's been some real drastic changes, and they start and run good. These new tractors start even in the winter, diesel tractors. So there have been tremendous improvements. But when you back up and look at how a compact tractor today specs out, and I did a video about this a while back that really had a lot of views, and it was interesting to me to find out if you spec out a new compact tractor, just the specifications versus an 8N Ford, the specs are remarkably similar. And the way they operate, you know, the 8N Ford had a 3-point hitch, had a PTO, had all that stuff. The newer tractors are a whole lot easier to use than an 8N, but when you spec them out, they're pretty darn close in specs.
You've got more of a rifle approach to the things that you talk about.
Well, so yeah, it's kind of a rifle approach. I talk about tractors. I don't talk about too much else. But it's important if you're going to own a tractor to understand how even a small tractor can be dangerous and can kill you. You know, there's people lose their lives on compact tractors all the time, from rollover, from getting entangled in PTO and things like that. So it's important to educate yourself about tractors, because it's a real safety concern if you don't know them and you're out operating them.
Okay, so I'm a newbie and I'm looking for a tractor. What are some of the things that I should be thinking about?
If you're a newbie thinking about buying, you need to find a salesperson that finds out exactly what you need. Educate yourself as much as you can on the internet. And I've got the channel, there's a few other channels out there that kind of teach about the basics. Educate yourself as much as you can, and then when you go in a dealership, find the salesperson that's asking you specific questions about what you want to do with that tractor. If they're not asking you a bunch of questions, you need to go on down the road, and they're going to guide you to the product that best fits your operation. And hopefully that's what we tried to do when I managed the dealership. When we had a person that was a newbie come in and wanted a tractor, we asked him a ton of questions, and our goal was to tailor that exact product to their needs. And if you find the guy or lady that's trying to do that with you, then stick with them and buy what they're selling.
What do you think about new tractors versus used tractors?
Oh man, new versus used. Well, if you can find a late model, you know, most people don't want to work on tractors. If you're mechanically oriented, you can go find an older tractor cheap. But most people want a loader on it. Try to find one with a loader. Don't buy one without a loader and try to put a loader on it. So find a tractor and a loader. If you're mechanically oriented, you can find an older tractor. Now, the older tractors are not going to start very well in the winter if you're in a cold area. But if you don't like working on tractors, stay with something probably in the 90s, 2000s. And then you're going to find out, if you're looking for a compact tractor, that the older compact tractors are in high demand. And so they hold their value really well. So most people, when they start shopping, are looking for a used tractor, and then they look at the used tractors and the condition they're in and the price they're in, and they end up buying new. And with the new tractor, you get a warranty, you get possible, 0% financing and things like that. So a lot of people go to the new tractor, and you have that peace of mind. Now, the newer tractors have Tier 4 engines, just like the big trucks running up and down the road. They have a little more pollution stuff on them, but every time I start up my 2000 model tractor in this barn, even with the doors open, I'm breathing in that diesel particulate matter, and it's not good for you. So your new tractors are going to have a little more pollution stuff on them, but it's all for a good reason. So if you're a little mechanically oriented, go for an older used tractor. If you can find a late model new tractor or a used tractor with a good price on it, get that. But most folks are going to end up looking at the difference in price and buying new.
When you worked for a dealer, what were the more common implements that you sold?
Well, almost all tractors are sold with front end loaders. Get that. Even if you'll never use it, it'll help your resale value. There's a very high percentage go out with brush hogs or bush hogs or rotary cutters, whatever you want to call them. A very high percentage of those. Most people that are moving out to the country have a long driveway with gravel, and it develops a crown over time, and you need a box blade to cut that crown down. It's too bad you can't use a straight blade, an angle blade. That's another one. That's what I use for snow removal. If you're in a big snow area, you may want a snow blower or something like that, but a lot of folks just get an angle blade that goes on the back of the tractor. And here, if we get a 6-inch snow, I run down the driveway with going one way and back scraping, and the driveway's clear. So things to think about are, rotary cutter first. That's the biggest seller. Box blade, an angle straight blade, the box blade for the driveway. If you got an asphalt driveway, you may not need that. Straight blade for snow removal. And then I use a post hole digger a bunch, a post auger, to dig holes for posts and burying dead dogs. But we're in an area with lots of rocks. I wouldn't try to dig a hole here with all the rocks we've got. And then a lot of folks, and something kind of new, is a grapple that clamps down on a load on your front end. And to have a grapple, you either need a diverter valve or a third function valve. So if you're thinking about a grapple on down the road when you're buying the tractor, ask if it has a third function valve or diverter valve available. And those are probably the big ones. I'm probably forgetting something, but that's the bulk of the attachments that go out right there. A lot of people get backhoes. I was the world's worst backhoe salesperson because I hate to have something that sits outside in the fence row the bulk of the time. If I had a backhoe, I'd use it really heavy for a week or so, and then it would set the rest of the time. And I know a guy I can call, bring a full-size backhoe out and dig a big hole or trench anytime. He's a friend of mine, so I don't have a backhoe. I just use him, and I don't have to worry about that implement costing me money sitting out in the fence row.
How important is a particular dealer to the buying process?
Well, the dealer to me is probably the most important consideration when you're buying a tractor. Get somebody you can trust, somebody that's going to be around for the life of the tractor, somebody that has a good selection, somebody that listens to you when you talk to them, someone with a good parts department to back you up and a good service department. I think that the dealer is the #1 thing I'd look for when shopping for a tractor, because like I said, there's 11 tractor brands. They've all got good products. The thing that differentiates them all is how good is the local dealer.
Now, you've written a book that really tells the whole story of your channel in terms of talking about all the different subjects that you discuss in order for people to become educated. Tell us about the book.
It's called An Insider's Guide to Purchasing a Tractor, because I wanted to kind of put all of the stuff that I've learned from shopping for my own tractor and from running a dealership and from being a factory rep, all of that stuff in a book, and kind of make it exclusive and inside information in a lot of areas. And I talk about a lot of stuff in there. Well, what options to select, which ones are important, which ones are not, whether to go with cash or low rate, whether to buy new or used, all of that stuff, and it goes into pretty good detail. I spent a lot of time writing that book, and I think it'll help anybody that's shopping for a tractor and help them make a good decision. And once you buy that tractor, you're probably going to own it the rest of your life, unless you like new things all the time, or you make a big mistake in shopping. And the aim of the book is to keep you from making a mistake. So you buy that tractor one time, and that stays with you the rest of your life, and gives you good service and is exactly what you wanted. It's $29.95, which is a lot of money for an ebook, but if you're buying a $30,000 tractor, you'll get that many times over by knowing exactly what to pick out and being happy with what you get. It's a nice, cheap little insurance policy if you look at it that way.